Welcome back, and thank you for tuning in to Midnight Affairs Tales. We appreciate every single one of you. We'd love to know what part of the world you are watching from right now. Let us know in the comments now. Let's dive into today's story, Chapter 1. The cuffs clicked so loud, they felt like a gunshot in my ears. My own front yard. Neighbors standing on porches. Some whispering. Others staring. A few shaking their heads. One even pulled out a phone. I looked at Officer Daniels, the man tightening metal around my wrists, and asked, "Are you serious right now?" He did not look me in the eye. "Sir, turn around and remain silent," he muttered. Brittany stood behind him, fake tears streaming down her cheeks. Her mascara made it look convincing. Her voice cracked just enough to sound real when she told the officers I had hit her during an argument. I wanted to scream, but I did not. I just looked at her. Right into her eyes. I had seen real fear in combat zones. Real victims of real violence. What I saw in Brittany's eyes was not fear. It was strategy. "You called the cops on your husband?" I said quietly. "After everything?" Her expression flickered, just for a moment. But Daniels did not see it. Or maybe he did not want to. Because Daniels was the one she was cheating with. I did not know it then. But I would soon. Inside the squad car, I felt the whole world tilt sideways. My career, my reputation, my life, it was all hanging by a thread. I looked down at my wrists. I had served 3 tours overseas. I had been shot at, bombed, hunted. But nothing had ever felt like this. This was betrayal. Dressed in a badge. Wearing my wedding ring. And it was about to get worse. Much worse. Wait. I need to tell you something important. Have you ever realized that you keep watching my videos but haven't subscribed yet? This video has reached this point, which means you're enjoying it. So why not subscribe? I have a big goal, 10,000 subscribers. And you can help me reach it. Think about it. If you don't subscribe now, you might miss my next big video. This is the moment. Hit that subscribe button now. Do it now. And don't forget to hit the bell icon so you never miss out. I know you'll do it. And when we hit 10,000 subscribers, I have a special surprise for you. Now let's continue story. I was released the next morning. No charges yet, just questions. Quiet suspicion from people who used to shake my hand. When I stepped back into my own home, it felt like enemy territory. Brittany was sitting on the couch, acting like nothing happened. She looked up from her phone with an expression so blank it made my stomach turn. "Jake, they had to follow protocol," she said. "You got aggressive. You were yelling. You scared me." "I did not touch you." "You scared me," she repeated. That is still valid. The way she weaponized those words, I knew right then. This was not confusion. This was war. I walked through the house slowly. Looked at the photos on the wall. Wedding day smiles. Vacations. Her arms around me in every single one. Lies now. All of them. In the kitchen, I saw 2 glasses in the sink. One was smeared with lipstick. The other had fingerprints too big to be hers. I picked up the second glass. Still smelled like whiskey. Was someone here while I was locked up? I asked without turning around. Silence. When I did turn, she was gone. Vanished down the hallway. That night, I did not sleep. I stayed up, watching the footage on my body cam. The one I wore sometimes to manage my PTSD therapy, military grade, always recording when activated. And there it was. Clear video. Me standing in the hallway. Calm. Her throwing a wine glass against the wall. Screaming. Punching the air. Storming past me to her phone. Laughing. Texting. Who? I paused the video. Rewound. Zoomed in. Contact name, D. My chest tightened. My throat dried. I knew exactly 1D with that number. Officer Travis Daniels. The man who put cuffs on me. The next morning, I put on a smile that did not belong to me. Want breakfast? I asked Brittany as if nothing had happened. She blinked, confused. You are cooking? Sure. You are still my wife, right? She did not answer that. I scrambled eggs. Made her toast. Played along. Because now I had a mission. And every soldier knows. You never go into battle without knowing the terrain. Over the next few days, I became someone else. Calm. Attentive. Soft-spoken. She dropped her guard. She even left her phone face up once. That was all I needed. I mirrored the contents of her phone to a backup. Every message, every file, every call log. And what I found was darker than I ever imagined. Not just messages with Daniels. Photos, hotel bookings, whispered voice notes. And then one text made my blood freeze. He is not going to find out. If he does, I will say he hit me again. He is military. They will believe me. My hands shook. I had stared down rifles with steadier hands than this. She was not panicking. She was planning. I walked to the bathroom, closed the door, and threw up in the sink. This was not just infidelity. This was a hit job on my name, my record, my life. And she had help. But what she did not know, I had footage. And now I had a plan. 6 months earlier, before the lies, before the betrayal, I was a man who still believed in forever. My name is Jake Callahan. I am 34. I served 3 tours in the Army, Afghanistan, Syria, and Iraq. I have been shot twice, lost friends to both bullets and depression, and seen more blood than a lifetime should carry. But through it all, one thing kept me steady. Brittany. She was my home. My breath when I could not breathe. My anchor when I drifted too far from shore. We met at a barbecue 10 years ago. She handed me a beer, told me my dog tags were crooked, and just smiled. That smile felt like safety. When I left for deployment, she used to write me letters, pages of them. She sent me videos of our daughter, Anna, doing little dances in the living room, or singing into a hairbrush. She made me believe I still mattered outside the battlefield. I clung to that belief like it was body armor. When I came back after my final tour, things were not the same. But I blamed myself. I thought it was the nightmares, the mood swings, the 1,000-yard stare I carried from war zones to Walmart. I did not want to believe Brittany could be cold on purpose. I thought she was just tired. I started wearing a body cam on my vest after my therapist suggested it, to help me analyze my reactions, manage my stress, stay grounded. Never in my life did I imagine that footage would be used to save me from prison. But the warning signs? They were there. Subtle, quiet, like a ticking time bomb under a dinner table. I just did not hear it. Not yet. After syncing Brittany's phone, I started organizing the files like a soldier preparing for an op. Each thread, each message, date stamped, time marked. I built a case like I was writing a mission report. Pick me up at the East Lot again. Same time. You make me forget I am a married woman. You are so much better than him. You make me feel alive. Every message carved something out of my chest. But I did not flinch. Emotions are distractions in a mission. Pain is fuel. I renamed each file and folders. Contact_Daniels. Hotel_receipts. Audio_night of. Then I opened a new folder and labeled it Operation Redemption. Brittany was acting like nothing was wrong. Cooking, cleaning, even asking how I slept. Fake concern laced with guilt. Or maybe arrogance. You know, you have been really sweet lately, she said over coffee. Like old times. I smiled. Just trying to be better. She leaned in, kissed my cheek. My jaw clenched. I smiled wider. That same afternoon, I installed a secondary cam, this time hidden on the hallway light fixture. It caught everything. 3 nights later, I got the footage. Daniels entered through the back door at 10:17 p.m. Brittany greeted him in a robe. They kissed. He walked like he owned the place. I paused the video, rewound, watched again. A man who arrested me for a crime I did not commit had been walking into my house, sleeping with my wife, and helping her build a story that could destroy me. I stared at the screen. My own face looked back at me through the reflection on the monitor, haunted, cold, calm. I did not cry. I made another folder. Home_invasion__badge. The next morning, I took Anna to school. She was 7, bright, talkative, thought the world was fair and kind. Daddy, are you and Mommy fighting? She asked. Why do you say that, sweetheart? She cries when she thinks I am asleep. My throat clenched. Do you feel safe? She nodded. You always keep me safe. That moment carved itself into my bones. When I came home, Brittany was on a video call in the kitchen. She hung up quickly when she saw me. "I was just talking to a parent from school," she said. I nodded. "Everything good?" "Yeah, just a long week." "Same." I wanted to scream. I wanted to throw a chair. But I knew that would give her what she needed. She wanted a reaction, a meltdown, something she could twist. I gave her stillness. Stillness scares manipulators more than rage. They cannot control silence. Later that night, I sat in the garage and began recording voice memos. Not just for legal backup, no, for me, for clarity. She told everyone I hit her. I said into the mic, but my footage says otherwise. I will not break. I will not lose my daughter. I will not let a lie become my legacy. I stared at the wedding photo on the workbench. Her smile. It used to mean everything. Now it was the mask of my enemy. I whispered into the dark. "You wanted war, Brittany. You married a soldier. 3 weeks. That is how long I played my role. Jake Callahan, the husband trying to heal. The man who forgives. The man who has no idea his world is on fire." Every morning, I kissed Brittany on the forehead, told her I loved her, made breakfast for Anna, braided her hair, and smiled through it all. Inside, I was a storm in silence. I began keeping a journal, handwritten, time-stamped, locked in the garage toolbox. I logged every shift in her behavior, every excuse, every lie wrapped in a pretty tone. I have to stay late. Parent-teacher night. We are short-staffed again. Long day. Oh, that perfume. It is just from the girls' lunch. But Brittany was never good at hiding evidence. One night, she forgot to log out of her school account. I found a message buried in a draft folder, never sent. Sometimes I wonder what it would feel like if he just vanished. If I could start over clean. No military husband, no broken home, just peace. She never sent it. But she typed it. That was enough. The next day, we hosted Anna's birthday party in the backyard. Pink balloons, cake from her favorite bakery, chalk drawings on the pavement. Brittany was laughing, loud, animated, the perfect mom. Everyone bought it. But I saw it. Underneath the mascara and forced cheer. Guilt, fear, control. When I stood beside her, I smiled for the camera too. I even put my arm around her. Friends said, "You two look so happy." I gripped her shoulder a little tighter. She flinched. She knew I knew. She just did not know how much. Yet, Friday evening, the air was thick with heat and the smell of grilled steak. Brittany stood by the counter, plating roasted vegetables like it was any other day. "Jake, we are having a guest over tonight," she said casually. "A guest? Daniels. Travis. He is bringing a bottle of red. You guys should talk." I stared at her. She really said that. "You invited the cop who arrested me over for dinner?" I asked, slow and clear. She kept her back turned. "He felt bad. He said he wants to make things right. It was just a misunderstanding." I nodded once. Of course. My heart thumped, but my face did not move. At 7:03 p.m., Officer Travis Daniels stepped into my house. Clean shave, polo shirt, that same smug confidence. "Jake," he said, sticking out a hand. I looked at it, then at Brittany. I shook it firm. 2 seconds longer than comfortable. He smiled. Man to man. I wanted to clear the air. Brittany laughed. "Told you he was mature about this." We sat at the table. I carved the steak, poured wine, passed potatoes. Daniels told stories about high school football. Brittany laughed too loudly. She touched his arm once, quickly, then looked at me. I pretended not to notice. Inside, I was memorizing everything. Tone, timing, eye contact. "Thank you for being civil," Daniels said, raising his glass. I clinked it. Till honesty. Later that night, I reviewed hallway footage. Daniels had used the bathroom twice. I checked the timestamps. Watched him pause outside our bedroom. Glance at a framed photo. Smirk. He looked comfortable. Too comfortable. He had no idea that everything he did inside my house was already in my hands. And soon, it would be in the hands of everyone else. That same night, after everyone had gone to bed, I slipped into the office and opened my laptop. I had been building something. A trap. A file labeled bank statements. Divorce plan.xlsx. Brittany had always been nosy. Paranoid. She liked to know more than she should. So I created a decoy document. Filled it with half-truths and fake account transfers. A line in the notes. Hidden fund for attorney. Custody strategy. I uploaded it to our shared cloud folder and waited. 3 nights later, the trap was triggered. She opened it at 1:17 a.m. I got the alert instantly. She stayed in the file for 12 minutes. By 8 a.m., she was sweetness incarnate, kissing my cheek, offering me a second cup of coffee, even made pancakes. Just felt like treating you, she said, eyes shining. I watched her. You have not made pancakes in 6 months. She paused. I guess I just missed the old US. I smiled. Me too. But that was not what I felt. What I felt was control. Precision. The kind of certainty you only get after the plan starts working. She thought she was winning, that she had caught me plotting. But all she had done was step right into my case file, voluntarily. And now, I had her for cyber snooping, probable intent to obstruct, and tampering with financial records. The walls were closing in on her. Slowly, silently. And I was the one tightening every screw. Officer Daniels was more than just a homewrecker. He was a coward in a uniform, shielded by the same badge I once respected. The footage I captured the night of his visit showed more than I hoped for. After using the bathroom, he lingered in the hallway again. He stared at our wedding photo, whispered something under his breath. I enhanced the audio. Should have been me, he mumbled. Then he walked into our bedroom when Brittany followed. The hallway camera picked it up from a distance, voices low, intimate. She said, "He suspects something. Daniels, let him. He cannot prove anything. Brittany, he is smarter than you think." He laughed. "Then we will bury him with his own past." It was all I needed. Not just infidelity, conspiracy. That weekend, I printed stills. A few key transcripts. I put them in a sealed envelope and mailed it to myself. Dated. Postmarked. Legal timestamp. Insurance in case they ever tried to turn this public. At breakfast, I watched them whisper at the edge of the backyard during Anna's soccer practice. Daniels had shown up to support her, Brittany claimed. I stayed on the other side of the field, arms crossed, sunglasses on. They smiled at me. I smiled back. That night, I renamed the operation. From redemption to execution, Brittany had always been composed. She knew how to lie with grace, how to cry on command, how to perform empathy. But liars always overplay their hand. It started with her forgetting Anna's lunch 2 days in a row. Then she missed a parent-teacher meeting she herself had scheduled. I stayed quiet. Logged it all. Rough week, I asked casually as I made dinner. "I am just overwhelmed," she replied, rubbing her temples. "You should talk to someone about that. You know, a counselor. Like the kind you used to be." Her fork froze mid-bite. "What is that supposed to mean?" "Just saying. You used to care about people's emotional health. Maybe it is time to care about your own." She narrowed her eyes. "Are you mocking me?" I smiled softly. "Of course not." She threw her fork into the sink and stormed off. I knew I hit a nerve. She was slipping, and I was going to let her keep slipping until she fell face first into her own mess. Later that night, I went into Anna's room. She was drawing me and Brittany, stick figures holding hands. "Why does Mommy always look mad now?" she asked. I bent down beside her. "Sometimes people pretend for so long, they forget how to be kind. But that is not your fault, okay?" She nodded. "You are still nice." I kissed her forehead. "She is going to destroy herself," I whispered to myself after tucking her in. "I am just giving her the mirror to watch it happen." The local community center was planning a charity night. Brittany, ever the image-obsessed counselor, volunteered both of us. "Good PR," she said with a bright smile. "Show people we are still united." Still united. She had no idea. The event was set for the following Friday. City Hall. Dozens of guests. Her coworkers. My army buddies. Even our neighbors. I spent the week preparing. I did not plan to confront her that night, but I needed the perfect audience to witness what was coming next. Before the event, I met with Officer Daniel's superior. Quietly, off the record, I showed him a flash drive. Footage, audio, dates, names, my arrest video, Brittany's false claim, Daniel's face in my hallway. He said nothing for a while. Then, let me handle him. I nodded. But not before Friday. At the event, Brittany wore red. She always did when she wanted to be admired. Smile, she whispered as we entered. Everyone is watching. I did. She mingled with guests. Spoke to the crowd about unity and second chances. The irony nearly made me laugh. Then she introduced me. My husband, Jake, my hero, has agreed to say a few words. I walked up slowly, adjusted the mic. Marriage, I began, is built on trust. She smiled proudly from the side. Tonight, I am here not just as a husband, but as a man who knows what it feels like to be betrayed and blamed for something he did not do. Her face shifted. I pulled a small remote from my pocket. Click. The screen behind me lit up. Still frame. Brittany and Daniels, kissing at my front door. The crowd gasped. Brittany dropped her wine glass. Daniels, standing in the corner, bolted for the exit. I stepped back from the mic, calm as ever. Second chances are earned, not faked. And truth does not need permission to speak. The silence in the room was louder than any explosion. This was just the beginning. The charity event ended in chaos. Brittany chased me outside, heels clicking on concrete, voice shaking. Jake, what the hell was that? I turned slowly, calm as winter steel. That was the first warning shot. You embarrassed me. No, you embarrassed yourself. I just gave the truth a microphone. Her face contorted, rage, confusion, panic all blending. You do not get to destroy me because you are bitter. I stepped closer, lowered my voice. You tried to destroy me. You told the police I hit you. You had me arrested. You slept with the cop who cuffed me. And now you are mad that I played your tape out loud. She was trembling. You humiliated me in front of everyone. I leaned in, dead calm. That was not humiliation. That was exposure. She slapped me. Hard. I did not flinch. A few onlookers gasped. I simply said, thank you. That just gave me custody leverage. Then I walked away. Back inside, Officer Daniels was gone. His chair was empty. His badge? That would not be hanging on his chest for much longer. 3 days later, Officer Travis Daniels was suspended. Internal Affairs opened a formal inquiry. The footage I handed over became evidence, not just of an affair, but of professional misconduct. He had failed to disclose a relationship with someone directly involved in a criminal case he processed. He had violated oath and ethics. When the report dropped publicly, Brittany's name was mentioned too. Anonymous civilian partner involved in officer misconduct. Anonymous to the department, but not to the town. Her workplace held a meeting. She was placed on administrative leave, pending investigation of conduct unbecoming a school counselor. She called me that night, voice shaking. You have ruined everything. No, I said. You ruined it the moment you weaponized my trauma. Then I hung up. Later that night, I got a call from Daniels. Blocked number. I should have known you would twist this, he said. You arrested me under false charges, then slept with my wife. You think you are going to win? You are not the only one with secrets. I let that hang. Then bring them out, Travis. Because the difference is, I am not lying about mine. Click. Call ended. Within a week, Brittany was uninvited from a coworker's bridal shower. 2 moms at Anna's school removed her from the carpool rotation. The social pressure came slow at first, then like a tidal wave. Her Instagram comments went from heart emojis to passive-aggressive questions. Thought you said you and Jake were stronger than ever? Was that the same red dress from the charity scandal? She tried damage control, posted a photo of her and Anna, captioned, "No matter what the world throws at us, we stand together." But the comments did not bite. Instead, should have stood beside your husband, not under another man. I said nothing online. Silence, after all, is the sharpest weapon when the world is already watching. Meanwhile, I met with my lawyer. We had everything lined up: arrest footage, hallway recordings, text messages, the cam file from my PTSD rig, and now Brittany's declining mental stability. She has no idea how badly she hurt her own case, the lawyer said. Do not underestimate her, I replied. She is desperate now. Later that evening, I found a note slipped under my garage door. Meet me. One chance. I need to explain. Please. Brittany. I stood there staring at it. She was unraveling. And desperation? That is when people become dangerous. The coffee shop was nearly empty. Just a few college kids on laptops, an old man reading a newspaper, and us. Brittany sat by the window, sunglasses on, hoodie pulled over her head like it could hide the shame on her face. I walked in, calm, confident, not because I was winning, but because I had already won the moment. I walked away without yelling. She stood halfway, gave me a nervous half-smile. Jake, thank you for coming. I sat down without shaking her hand. I kept my tone even. Why am I here? I needed to talk. No cameras. No traps. Just talk. I leaned back, arms crossed. Then talk. She took off the sunglasses. Her eyes were swollen. Makeup tried to hide it, but I knew that look. She had been crying for hours. Everything's falling apart. You mean the lies? Yeah, that tends to happen. She shook her head. You do not understand. Travis is ghosting me. My job is on the line. Anna's school called. Parents are complaining. I messed up. I raised an eyebrow. That is the most honest sentence you have said in months. She swallowed. I never meant for it to get this bad. You accused me of assault. I thought you would leave, and I could reset everything. Reset what, Brittany? Your image? Your guilt? Her voice cracked. I just wanted to be happy again. I stared at her. Then you should have tried being honest instead of being someone else's secret. The silence between us was suffocating. I do not want to lose my daughter. You already did, I said softly. You just have not faced it yet. I stood, dropped a $5 bill on the table. For the coffee. And I walked out. No yelling. No closure speech. Just silence. Because sometimes silence is the most brutal ending of all. A week after the cafe meeting, I filed the papers. Full custody. The affidavit included over 50 pages of evidence, video timestamps, recorded calls, Daniel's disciplinary report, screenshots of Brittany's messages, school attendance logs, and a detailed psychological evaluation of Brittany's behavior since the false accusation. My lawyer handed me a copy. This is airtight. If the judge has any sense of logic, you are walking out of there with your daughter. The court date was set, June 15th, 3 weeks away. In the meantime, Brittany was unraveling publicly. She posted long emotional paragraphs online about being a misunderstood mother, deleted them hours later, then reposted vague quotes about betrayal and heartbreak. People were not buying it. What she did not realize was that the custody court does not care about Instagram posts. It cares about patterns. It cares about safety. And most of all, it cares about truth. Anna stayed with me most nights. Brittany tried to act normal during her limited visits, but Anna had grown quiet around her. Less open, less trusting. Mommy yells at the phone a lot, she said one night while coloring. Does she yell at you? No, Anna said, then paused. But she looks mad even when she is smiling. That hit me harder than anything Brittany ever said. At night, I would rewatch pieces of the footage, not to relive it, but to remind myself of the war I was still fighting. This was not just about winning. It was about making sure Anna grew up in peace. Away from shadows. Away from manipulation. Away from the kind of love that disguises control as care. As the court date approached, things got quieter, which only made me more alert. No calls from Brittany. No surprise visits. No new online tantrums. That silence, it was not surrender. It was calculation. She was planning something. I could feel it. 3 days before the hearing, I received an email from her lawyer requesting a private mediation. The subject line read, "Proposal to settle custody privately. My attorney called me. She is panicking. wants to avoid the courtroom because she knows she will lose. Exactly. But hear this. The proposal includes shared custody, 50-50, with no public court record. I laughed. No record? After everything she has done, she is trying to save face. If this goes to court, she knows it becomes public record. That could destroy her professionally for good. I thought about it. Then I said, decline. I want it all on the record. I wanted the world to remember. I wanted Anna to grow up and know her father did not settle when it came to truth. The next morning, I dropped Anna at school. She hugged me tight. Will everything be okay, Daddy? I smiled and kissed the top of her head. Everything will be better than okay, kiddo. I promise. Then I watched her walk away, backpack bouncing, unaware that her future was being fought for in silent rooms, behind polished tables, under courtroom ceilings. 3 more days, and the storm would be over. But not before the final thunder. June 15th. Family Court, Room 204. Quiet halls. Muted tones. The kind of place where lives are quietly rearranged. I wore a navy blue suit. Hair trimmed. Calm. Focused. Brittany walked in 10 minutes late. Makeup heavy. Designer bag swinging. Behind the eyes, panic. She sat across the aisle with her lawyer, refusing to look at me. The judge entered. Silver hair, sharp gaze. The kind of man who had heard every excuse, every lie, every sob story. My lawyer stood first. He spoke clearly. Your Honor, we are requesting full custody of Anna Callahan based on documented false abuse allegations, infidelity involving a law enforcement officer assigned to the accuser's claims, emotional instability, and evidence of neglectful parenting behavior during the past 6 months. He handed the file over. Exhibits a through are video, audio, written transcripts, and third-party witness statements. Brittany's lawyer tried to respond, but it was damage control, claims of stress, postpartum depression, a need for healing space. The judge raised one hand. You filed a domestic violence complaint. It was disproven by body cam footage. Then you proceeded to have a romantic relationship with the arresting officer. Is that correct? Brittany hesitated. Yes, but no buts, the judge cut in. That undermines every part of your testimony, and it puts the integrity of the system itself at risk. Silence. Then came his words. I am granting full legal and physical custody to Mr. Callahan. A gavel. Final. My hands clenched. I exhaled slowly. Brittany did not speak. Her eyes glazed over. The storm had landed, and I walked away with my daughter and my name. The ruling felt like a breath I had held for months. But winning did not feel like celebration. It felt like standing on a battlefield after the smoke clears, bodies gone, silence ringing, nothing left but rubble and blood-stained boots. Anna was safe. That was all that mattered. But I had lost years. Trust. Pieces of myself. That night, I sat in the living room, watching Anna sleep on the couch next to me. Cartoons played low on the TV. Her mouth was open, breathing softly. Innocent. She did not know how close she came to being raised in lies. I glanced over at the manila folder on the table. All the documents. Every lie Brittany spun. Every piece of proof I collected. I had built that case like a war plan. I had fought like a soldier again, but in a different kind of war. I could have burned the folder. Instead, I slid it into a safe. Not to reopen, just to remember. Later that night, I received an anonymous text from an unlisted number. You think it's over. It isn't. I stared at it. No name. No hint. Just threat. A chill ran through me. Something was not right. And then the twist hit. When I checked the cloud server I used to store all the digital backups, 2 files were missing. Not corrupted. Deleted. From the root. My eyes widened. My mind raced. Only 2 people had that access. Me. And my lawyer. I called my lawyer first thing the next morning. Straight to voicemail. Tried his assistant. She said he was unavailable due to personal emergency. I did not believe it. Not for a second. I drove straight to the office. Doors locked. Lights off. No receptionist. I called again. No answer. Then I checked the digital access log on the cloud storage. My login, untouched. His login. Activity at 2:14 a.m. Someone went in. Removed only 2 files. One showing Daniels entering my house while on duty. The other? The hallway footage showing Brittany and Daniels conspiring. The 2 most damning pieces of the entire case. And they were gone. Permanently. I stood there, gripping my phone so tight it creaked. Why? Why would my lawyer sabotage the very case he had built? Then I remembered something. At one of our early meetings, he mentioned knowing Daniels from back in police academy. Guy used to owe me one, he had joked. I never thought twice. Until now. I opened a private email I had not touched in months. Scrolled down to an old, archived folder. Found a message, referral, Travis Daniels, legal contact, my lawyer's name. He had been referred by Daniels. The setup had started long before I ever pressed record. And now I was back in the crosshairs. The law office was empty, but the walls still whispered. I paced the front entrance, heart hammering in my chest. Sunlight filtered through the glass doors, washing everything in a false sense of calm. The same office that had built my custody case now felt like enemy territory. I pulled out my phone again and opened the cloud access log. Login, M. Santoro time, 2:14 a.m. action, file deletion, 2 entries. I stared at the name. Michael Santoro, my lawyer, the man who had smiled across the desk while promising, "We are going to destroy them in court." I walked to the back of the building, checking the parking lot. No cars. Something was wrong, deeply wrong. I called a different attorney I had met once during a veterans legal seminar. Told him everything, word for word. He did not interrupt once. After a long pause, he said, "Jake, I hate to tell you this, but if your attorney was referred through Daniels, and you gave him full access to your case files, you may have been compromised since day one." I could barely breathe. Compromised how? Delays. Missed opportunities. Evidence tampering. Quiet sabotage. You won the case, but someone might be planning to reverse that behind closed doors. I felt the floor shift beneath me. If this was a setup, it had been slow, strategic, and I had walked straight into it. That night, around 9:30 p.m., I heard a knock at my door. 3 slow, deliberate taps. I looked through the peephole and froze. It was Daniel's wife, Claire, blonde hair tied back, eyes swollen, arms crossed, holding a folder to her chest like it was a life preserver. I opened the door slowly. "Claire, I need to talk to you," she said. "Now." She stepped inside before I could say yes. "I found this," she said, handing me the folder. "Travis is burning, and he is not going down alone." Inside were printed emails, screenshots, even an old group photo from a police fundraiser. Daniels, my lawyer, Brittany, laughing together, drinks in hand. He told me he would fix everything, that Brittany would win custody eventually, that he had someone on the inside. I swallowed hard. "Santoro." She nodded. "He referred her. He set the whole thing up months ago." Claire sank into my couch. She looked like she had not slept in days. I tried to stay out of it. But now, Travis is spiraling. He said something about erasing mistakes before they become evidence. I do not know what that means, but you need to be careful. I sat down across from her, staring at the photo. A web of lies, planted months ago, and I was the target all along. The next morning, I was already waiting outside Santoro's building when he arrived. He stepped out of his Audi, briefcase in hand, casual as ever. The man looked untouched, like he had not just buried my evidence 3 nights ago. I stepped in front of him. He paused, mid-step. "Jake, you deleted the footage." He blinked once. "I am not sure what you are. Do not lie. I saw the logs. I have the IP address." Claire gave me the rest. He hesitated, then smiled. Cold, smug. "You got what you wanted. Custody. Name cleared. Why are you still digging?" "Because I want to know how deep this goes." Santoro leaned in slightly, lowering his voice. "Do yourself a favor, Jake. Walk away. You push too hard, and people with real power will start noticing." "You mean Travis?" I mean people who do not want their names in court transcripts. He brushed past me like I was nothing. But I turned slowly, calm, already calling the new lawyer I had spoken to. You were right, I told him. There is more to this. Good, he said. Then it is time to go federal. I hung up, and I knew now. This was never just about revenge. It was about exposing a system that let betrayal wear a badge, a suit, and a wedding ring. 2 days later, I sat inside a sterile office. Fluorescent lights overhead. A seal on the wall that read, Department of Justice, Internal Affairs Division. Across from me sat Special Agent Langley, gray suit, zero expressions, eyes like he had seen too much and forgotten nothing. You brought this, he asked, tapping the flash drive I had handed him. Full files. Evidence of case tampering. An attorney tied to a corrupt officer. Deleted court files. I have the server logs, screenshots, timeline, testimony from the officer's wife. Langley plugged in the drive, scanned the files silently for a few minutes. He looked up. You understand what happens next, right? I am not here to make headlines. I am here to make sure people like that do not bury fathers in courtrooms. Langley gave the faintest nod. This will be reviewed by our integrity unit. If it checks out, there will be indictments. But Jake, yeah? Once this starts, you cannot stop it. They will come after you harder than before. Smear campaigns. Pressure. Maybe worse. You ready for that? I leaned forward. They already came after my name. My daughter. My freedom. I am still standing. He clicked the flash drive closed. Then so are we. Brittany came knocking 3 nights later. I almost did not answer. But Anna was asleep, and I needed to know what stunt was coming next. She stood there in jeans, no makeup, eyes hollow. I want to talk. I stepped outside, closing the door behind me. You need to go. She shook her head. You do not understand. Travis is losing it. He said if I talk, we are both going down. You already talked, Brittany. You talked when you filed a false report. You talked when you schemed with a cop to arrest me. No, she whispered. There is more. I felt the world slow down. What more? She swallowed. There were payments. Under the table. Travis made me sign a statement against you. But he said it was just insurance. That it would never be used unless you pushed back. I stepped back. You signed something? She nodded. Months ago, before the arrest. I did not think he would actually. You gave a pre-written accusation? Tears welled up. I wanted to take it back, Jake. I tried. But now he is threatening me too. I stared at her. You helped him try to destroy me. You were not manipulated. You were involved. I made a mistake. No, I said coldly. You made a choice. She reached out to touch my arm. I stepped back. Get a lawyer. You are going to need one. And I turned, walked inside, and locked the door. Behind me, she collapsed onto the porch steps. But I did not open the door again. The next day, the local paper ran a headline. Veteran cleared in custody case, faces retaliation claims from former attorney. My name. Right there. Photoshopped beside Santoro's face. The article painted it like a he said scenario. Santoro claimed I was harassing him, attempting to blackmail his office over a routine clerical error. It was damage control, but it was working. Online forums lit up. Some called me a liar. Others accused me of gaming the system. I stood in the kitchen, fists clenched, staring at the screen. They were trying to flip the narrative. Rewrite history. I called Langley. You see it? I asked. Yeah, he said. Standard smoke screen. Let them throw dirt. We already subpoenaed Santoro's office. We are moving. I hung up and walked to Anna's room. She was building a Lego castle. I sat down beside her, watching her stack walls without fear. Will I always live with you now? She asked without looking up. I smiled. Yes, that will never change. But deep down, I knew the war was not over. It had just shifted. Now I was not just fighting for Anna's future. I was fighting to tear the mask off an entire system. And this time, they would not see me coming. It was Claire again. She messaged me just after midnight. A single line. You need to see this. I met her in her car behind a closed strip mall. She handed me a hard drive, shaking. I was going through our old Ring camera footage. Travis never knew I had access to the backup server. I stared at her. What is on it? She did not answer. She just looked me in the eyes and said, play it somewhere safe. And be ready. Back home, I plugged the drive into my laptop, heart pounding in my throat. The file was dated 3 weeks before my arrest. It showed Brittany. In her car. In front of our house. On the phone. She will believe it. I will cry a little. Say I am scared of him. He is military. He has PTSD. People will fill in the blanks. A pause. Then a male voice responded, Travis Daniels. She has to stick to the script. I will handle the rest on paper. You just play your part, and he will go down without a sound. The video cut off. I sat back in my chair, hands numb. This was not manipulation. This was premeditation. A planted plan to erase me. Not in a moment of anger. Not out of panic. But cold. Methodical. Scripted. And it was all caught on camera. The next morning, I called in a favor. Brent Weller. Marine vet turned investigative podcaster. He had a 1 million subscriber base and a reputation for wrecking corruption with facts. I sent him the video. An hour later, he called me. Jake, I am going to air this. But you need to be ready. I already am. That afternoon, Brent dropped the episode. Operation Betrayal, the body cam veteran and the officer who framed him. It opened with the Ring footage. Raw. Unedited. Brittany's voice. Travis's response. All of it. Within 4 hours, it had 500,000 views. By midnight, it hit national trending. I received hundreds of messages. Veterans. Single fathers. Women who had been falsely accused. People who had been silenced. And then came the public. The media picked it up. Veteran betrayed by wife and cop. Catches it all on camera. Every lie Brittany told was unraveling under the weight of proof. Daniels went into hiding. His department froze his pension review. Internal Affairs fast-tracked his investigation. And Brittany? She tried to delete her social media. But it was too late. Screenshots. Clips. Her voice. Her plan. Everything was out. She was no longer the victim. She was the architect of a takedown that failed. 2 days after the video dropped, I was summoned again to Internal Affairs. But this time, I was not sitting alone. Claire was there too. Pale, exhausted, but steady. Across the table sat 3 agents and 1 legal rep from the local police precinct. Langley spoke first. We want to thank you both for your cooperation. Based on the latest footage and corroborated reports, we are preparing formal charges against Officer Travis Daniels, Attorney Michael Santoro, and possibly additional parties pending further discovery. Claire's voice cracked. I never thought it would go this far. Langley looked at her. You were brave to come forward. That counts. He turned to me. Jake, we are pushing for a joint legal action. Criminal and civil. Your footage has now become precedent. Your case will likely set the tone for how digital evidence is evaluated in future family law and misconduct cases. I blinked. You mean this could change things? It already is, Langley said. I walked out of that room with a strange feeling in my chest. Not victory, not rage, but justice. Slow, heavy, earned. I looked up at the sky outside the federal building. Clouds moving fast overhead. Because a storm was ending. But a new dawn? It had already begun. 3 days after Brent's expose went viral, the real backlash began. The mayor of our town held a press conference. The actions of Officer Travis Daniels do not reflect the values of our department or this community. An internal review has been launched, but no one bought the corporate-sounding apology. The public wanted more. Daniels' face was on every news channel, every social feed. Brittany's voice clip played on repeat, her words dissected by experts. He has PTSD. People will fill in the blanks. I watched her world crumble from a distance. Former co-workers spoke out. An ex-friend posted screenshots of Brittany bragging about having the perfect insurance plan against me. And a school counselor requested a meeting. When I arrived, she looked genuinely shaken. Mr. Callahan, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for fighting. I nodded. This whole situation, it woke people up. We have had 2 parents come forward with similar stories. You gave them courage. It hit me in the chest. I did not do this for applause, but knowing that my pain helped someone else, that mattered. That night, Brittany showed up again, unannounced. No warning. Just headlights washing over my front porch and a knock, soft but frantic. I opened the door. She looked nothing like the woman I once married. Her hair was messy, mascara streaked from crying. She had no script this time. No mask. I lost my job today, she said, voice thin. They did not even give me time to explain. Because you already did, I said coldly. On camera. I was scared, Jake. I thought I would lose everything. You mean your reputation, not our daughter. She flinched. I did not know Travis would take it that far. I thought it was just pressure. I stepped out onto the porch, shut the door behind me so Anna could not hear. I begged you to tell the truth, I said. You had chances. I was drowning. No, I replied, stepping closer. You were climbing on top of me to stay afloat. She started crying. Loud, ugly sobs. I do not want to lose her. I looked at her, a part of me still remembering who she used to be. But that man, the version of me who loved her, he was gone. You already did, Brittany, I said. You just have not let go yet. She collapsed onto the porch steps, and I walked back inside. I got a call from Langley the next morning. Jake, you might want to sit down for this. What is it? The DA's office wants to offer Daniels a plea deal. My blood froze. You are kidding. Langley sounded frustrated. He is threatening to expose misconduct in unrelated cases unless they soften the blow. It is blackmail, but legal. What happens if he takes the deal? He avoids prison, pays fines, loses his badge permanently, but no public trial. No trial. I stood up, pacing. After everything, he is cornered. And when predators are cornered, they start selling everyone else out. I clenched my jaw. He buried me. And now he walks away. Langley paused. Unless you want to sue privately, take it civil. Drag him through the courts on your own. I looked at the folder on my desk, the one with every message, every file. Let him take his deal, I said quietly. I will see him in court. I was not just going to end him. I was going to do it legally. On paper. With the truth. The lawsuit was filed 2 days later. Callahan versus Daniels, Brittany, and Santoro. Charges: defamation, malicious prosecution, emotional distress, conspiracy to commit fraud. I expected resistance. I did not expect Daniels' lawyer to call my attorney with a settlement offer immediately. He was scared. Good. Brittany hired a low-tier attorney. Could not afford anything better after losing her job. Santoro? His law license was under review. I sat in the courtroom with my new legal team, watching them squirm. One by one, Daniels avoided my gaze. Brittany did not even show up that day. Just her lawyer, carrying a pathetic folder like it could shield her from the wreckage she caused. The judge reviewed our evidence. This case, he said, is one of the most calculated abuses of the legal system I have seen in recent years. We will proceed. That one sentence shattered them more than any scream ever could. Outside, I walked down the courthouse steps to a crowd of silent supporters. Some clapped, some just nodded. And for the first time in what felt like forever, I looked up at the sky and breathed, because I was not surviving anymore. I was winning. With the civil case now live, the pressure shifted. This was no longer about revenge. This was about redefinition, of truth, of fatherhood, of legacy. Anna was laughing again. We played board games, did homework, went to the park like any normal father and daughter. But even in peace, I stayed sharp. Trauma teaches you never to exhale too deep. Brittany stopped reaching out. No texts, no visits, not even fake apologies. She was probably preparing her own version of damage control. Meanwhile, Daniel's lawyer kept throwing settlement offers at us. We denied every one. If they want to avoid a courtroom, they should have stayed out of my house, I told my lawyer. Public support was still strong, but something was off. A weight I could not name, pressing just behind my ribs. I felt it every night. In the silence, in the stillness, like something unfinished was moving beneath the surface. I just did not know how deep it went. It came on a Monday afternoon. Unknown number. A voice I did not recognize. Is this Jake Callahan? Who's asking? My name is Dr. Eliza Mathers. I am a family counselor. I have information about your daughter. I sat up straight. What kind of information? There was a pause. Then she said, 2 years ago, Brittany brought Anna in for a session. She claimed the child had behavioral issues. Anger. Dissociation. I am only contacting you now because I have just learned that Brittany may have been using that session to build a long-term custody narrative. My blood froze. What are you saying? She was documenting patterns in Anna to preemptively claim you were unfit to parent. There were statements made, coached, in my opinion. But what matters more is the paperwork. She hesitated again. Mr. Callahan, she filed a private evaluation with a third-party firm. It was sealed. Until now. Send it to me. I already have. 10 minutes later, the PDF landed in my inbox. 30 pages of lies. About me. About Anna. About things that never happened. But on page 17, buried deep in the report, was a bomb. A medical discrepancy. A flagged blood type entry that did not match mine. I sat in my truck, staring at the screen. Anna's blood type. AB plus mine. Oh, that was biologically impossible. Unless. I called my doctor. He confirmed it. There is no way you are her biological father, Jake. I am sorry. The words cracked something inside me I did not know existed. 10 years. A lifetime. Every hug, every bedtime story, every drawing on the fridge. And now? A piece of paper told me I was not her blood. But I was something more. I was her father. And no test would change that. That night, I sat beside Anna as she colored dinosaurs. Hey, I said gently. Can I ask you something? She looked up. Sure. You know I love you, right? She smiled. You are my best friend. I held back the flood behind my eyes. She was mine. In every way that mattered. And yet, someone had robbed me of the truth. Not her fault. Brittany's. Again. And this time, I would not just fight back. I would bury the lie that broke me. The next day, I filed for an immediate court-ordered paternity test, official, state-recognized, and legally binding. My lawyer tried to keep his voice steady. Are you sure about this, Jake? It will go public. Let it. Because if the world was going to watch my downfall, they would now watch my rise, truth in hand. I knew Brittany would panic. She built her world on shadows. But this was sunlight. The court approved the request. Test date, 1 week from now. Brittany responded by filing a motion to block the test. She claimed I was emotionally unstable and trying to traumatize the child. The judge denied it in 5 minutes. I could almost feel the desperation in her signature. That night, I looked through old photos. Anna smiling on my shoulders, asleep on my chest, running through sprinklers in the backyard. Blood be damned. She was my reason for surviving everything. And now, I was going to give her the truth. Whether Brittany wanted it or not. The room smelled like bleach and paper. I sat in a sterile chair across from a nurse holding a cotton-tipped swab. Anna swung her feet nervously. I had not told her what this was yet. Only that it was a checkup to help the court. Open wide, sweetheart, the nurse said kindly. Anna obeyed. Then it was my turn. Swab. Seal. Label. Done. Just like that. The future had been collected in 2 tubes and a plastic bag. Outside, I crouched in front of her. You did amazing. Is everything okay? She asked. I hesitated. Everything is going to be okay, I said carefully. I promise. We got ice cream after. Chocolate chip for her. Black coffee for me. But even the sugar could not quiet the storm in my mind. A week, the nurse had said. 7 days. 7 days until the world told me if I was a father by blood or just by love. Either way, nothing would change how I looked at her. But it would change everything else. Especially what I planned to do next. On the 4th day, Brittany showed up at my job. Unannounced. She walked straight into the parking lot of the veteran-owned security firm I had started post-deployment. My coworkers froze. I stepped outside, met her halfway. "You need to leave," I said. She was shaking. "We need to talk." Talk ended months ago. She looked around, eyes wild, hands twitching. "If this test goes public, Jake, it will destroy everything." "It should." I was scared. "I thought you would leave me if you knew." "I stayed when I was being lied about. I stayed when you filed false reports. But you could not trust me with the truth." She stepped forward. "You were gone all the time. Deployment. Training. I was lonely. You were dishonest. There is a difference." She tried to touch my arm. I stepped back. "I loved her like my own," I said. "Because I thought she was." She sobbed. "You are still her father, Jake." I paused. "I know that. But after this test, everyone else will know how much you lied." And I walked away. The envelope arrived in a simple manila folder. No fanfare. No warning. I sat at the kitchen table while Anna played in the other room, unaware her world was being dissected in a laboratory. I opened it slowly. Paternity excluded. 0% probability. I stared at those lines like they had been written in fire. It was real now. Not just a suspicion. I was not her biological father. A sharp ache pierced through me. But it was not anger. It was grief. Silent, cold, echoing. And then it passed. I walked into the living room. Anna looked up from her toys. "Want to see my drawing?" I sat beside her, heart breaking in silence. "Of course." She showed me a crayon picture of the two of us holding hands under a blue sky. "That's you and me. I made the sun extra bright 'cause we're happy." I smiled. Real. Raw. I was not her blood. But I was her light. And I would fight harder now than I ever had before. The next hearing was short, but seismic. I walked in with the DNA report in one hand, a photo of Anna and me in the other. Brittany avoided eye contact the entire time. The judge reviewed the results. Expression unreadable. "I see the paternity test came back negative," he said. "Yes, Your Honor," my lawyer confirmed. "We still maintain full custody due to the established parental bond, time invested, and emotional stability Mr. Callahan provides. The biological father remains unidentified." The judge nodded slowly. "Mr. Callahan, despite not being the biological father, you have shown every quality of a real one. The court recognizes this. Custody remains with you. Visitation rights for the mother are suspended pending psychological evaluation." Brittany gasped. Her lawyer leaned in, whispering frantically. But I just stood there, silent, strong, unshaken. Because for the first time, the system saw what I had always known. Fatherhood is not in the blood. It is in the choice to stay. And I never left. Travis Daniels thought silence would protect him. He had stayed low, disappeared from the public, denied every interview request, and claimed no comment more times than he ever did his job with integrity. But silence does not erase evidence. And it does not erase what I had. Brent Weller's podcast crew found more. A retired cop came forward anonymously, claiming Daniels had falsified at least 3 other arrest reports in his earlier years on the force. 2 of those people had lost custody of their children. Brent called me that evening. "You want to finish this or not? I want the whole city to hear him beg." That week, we aired the full piece. The badge and the betrayal, Daniel's legacy of lies. It was not just my story anymore. It was his pattern. Brent closed the segment with this. If this man had not been caught lying about a veteran father, how many more would have paid the price for his unchecked power? The clip went viral in less than 6 hours. The next morning, Daniel's attorney withdrew from his case. By noon, he was served with a second subpoena, this time from a former client. Justice had finally put on its boots. Brittany filed one last emergency petition. She wanted the court to reconsider supervised visits. Anna needs her mother, her lawyer argued. The judge reviewed the last 6 months of Brittany's actions, false claims, recorded conspiracies, and now the DNA deception. Then he looked at me. "Mr. Callahan, what is your stance?" I stood slowly, calm. Clear. My daughter is happy. She is healthy. She is safe. The only trauma she carries is from watching her mother weaponize love. And I will not let that cycle continue. Brittany's lip quivered. She needs me. No, I said. She needed you to tell the truth. Years ago, the judge closed the file. Petition denied. No contact for the next 12 months. Re-evaluation to follow. It was over. Legally. Officially. Written in ink. Outside the courtroom, Brittany broke. She lunged toward me, sobbing, shaking. She is all I have left. No, I said quietly. She was all I had too. But I did not destroy her to protect myself. I turned and walked away. Because closure is not screaming. It is choosing not to scream back. Weeks passed. My house felt lighter. The air itself easier to breathe. Anna's laughter returned. Genuine, belly-deep joy. I caught her once, singing in the kitchen while brushing paint on a school project. She wore her happiness like armor now. I had won full custody, cleared my name, and watched 2 corrupt adults face exposure. But none of that mattered as much as this, seeing her smile like the world had never cracked. One night, as I tucked her in, she whispered, "Are you glad I am your daughter?" I blinked, the question catching me off guard. "There has never been a day I was not," I said. She smiled. "Me too." I kissed her forehead. In that moment, I realized something. Revenge is a fire, but truth is a sunrise. And I had finally made it through the night. A week after Brittany's petition was denied, I found a letter in the mailbox. No stamp, no return address, just my name. In her handwriting. I almost threw it away, but something in me said open it. Inside were 3 pages. Ink smudged. Handwritten. "Jake, I know you will never forgive me. And honestly, I do not blame you. You loved me harder than I ever deserved. You fought for our daughter like your life depended on it. I watched you protect a child that might not have even been yours, and it made me hate myself more than you ever could. I lied because I was scared. I manipulated because I could not accept losing control. But what I lost was so much more. I see Anna's face in my dreams. I hear her laugh, and it breaks me. I am not writing to ask for sympathy or mercy. I just needed to tell you. You were the better parent. You always were. Brittany. Asterisk. I folded the letter slowly. Did I forgive her? No. But in that moment, I let go of the last piece of anger that had been weighing me down. And I finally felt free. The security firm was doing well. Clients respected the veteran integrity we brought to the job. The business grew. New team. New contracts. I had purpose again. At home, Anna had made a new habit. Every night before bed, she would add to our dream wall. A corkboard filled with drawings, photos, and little scribbled goals. One night, I found a new paper pinned to the top. It said, "Dad's dream, peace." Mine too. I stared at it, throat tight. Because for the first time, it was not about survival anymore. It was about building something. With her. For her. I picked her up the next morning and told her, "We are going on a trip." She lit up. "Where?" "Anywhere the road goes." Driving through the Colorado plains, windows down, Anna asleep in the back seat. I looked in the rearview mirror. The man staring back was not the same one who came home from deployment to find a life built on lies. He was older now, wiser, scarred, but not broken. The journey had taken everything. Trust, time, sanity, even truth. But what I gained was something no courtroom could measure. Clarity and peace. My phone buzzed once. An email from the state. Final court closure notice. No further hearings pending. I stared at the words, then deleted the message. Because I no longer needed proof. I had it sitting behind me. Dreaming. Breathing. Safe. It was a quiet evening. The sky was bleeding orange over the hills, wind slipping gently through the trees. Anna was inside, building a fort out of blankets and fairy lights. I was on the porch, coffee in hand, silence wrapped around me like a second skin. No more hearings. No more lawyers. No more waiting for the next bomb to drop. It was over. Really over. For the first time in what felt like years, I was not preparing for a fight. I was just here, present, breathing. I opened the small wooden box I kept near the porch light. Inside were the things I had almost thrown away but never could. Anna's baby bracelet, one of Brittany's first apology notes from years ago, the printed court documents that had nearly destroyed me, and one flash drive. The footage. I stared at it for a long time. I could have deleted it, but I did not. Not out of bitterness, out of remembrance. Because people forget how fast a lie can become truth when no one is willing to show proof. I placed the flash drive back, locked the box, and stood up just as Anna poked her head out the door. "Dad?" She grinned. "My fort has rules now. You have to give the password to come in." I laughed. "And what's the password?" She thought for a second. "Truth," she said. "Only people who tell the truth can come in." I smiled. Damn right. 1 year later, Anna and I stood near a lake in Oregon, skipping stones under a silver sky. She was taller now, stronger, a little more sure of herself. So was I? The pain had not vanished. It had just changed shape. It lived quietly in the background now, like an old scar you can still feel when it rains. I had not seen Brittany again. Last I heard, she moved out of state. No new job, no new partner, just silence. Daniels? His case ended with a plea deal, but he lost his badge, his pension, and whatever name he had left. A ghost in the system he once abused. And me? I rebuilt, piece by piece, moment by moment. Not because I had something to prove, but because I had someone to protect. I knelt beside Anna, handed her another flat stone. She looked at me and asked, "Do you think the truth always wins?" I stared out at the water, then back at her. If someone's brave enough to hold the line, yes. Then I turned to you. What would you have done in my place? Would you have stayed silent? Or would you have fought for your name? Even if it cost you everything? Let me know in the comments, and tell me where in the world you are watching from. I want to hear your thoughts, your stories, your battles. If this story pulled you in, hit that like button gently, but with purpose. Tap subscribe to never miss the next twist, betrayal, or final reckoning. And turn on the bell icon, because the next thriller might just be even darker. Take care of yourselves. We will meet again in the next epic revenge story. Until then, hold the line, and never let the lie win. The end.